You're just in time for a great conversation we'll have with Timothy P. Brown of FootballArchaeology.com as he talks about the 12th man and some illegal activity that occurred in very unsportsmanlike times in the history of football. Tim's up in just a moment to tell us all about it.
This is the Pigskin Daily History Dispatch, a podcast that covers the anniversaries of American football events throughout history. Your host, Darin is podcasting from America's North Shore to bring you the memories of the gridiron, one day at a time.
Hello, my football friends. This is Darin Hayes of PigskinDispatch.com. Welcome once again to the Pig Pen, your portal to positive football history, and welcome to another Tuesday evening where we get to talk to Timothy P. Brown of FootballArchaeology.com. Tim, welcome back to the Pig Pen.
Hey, Darin. Look forward to chatting once again and maybe bringing some extra effort to this one.
Extra effort. All right. I like that. I like that. I like your spunk tonight.
I am really excited about this one.
Yeah, you
I
can
am.
see it. You can see it in your face.
I'm bubbling over.
Well, this is our poor way of segueing into tonight's topic, which is a recent tidbit of Tim's on FootballArchaeology.com. He titled it "Unfair Acts in the 12th Man." What can you tell us about this story, Tim?
Yeah. So this is. I really first came across this whole issue when I was researching my first book, which is about the Rose Bowl teams of World War I. And I was reading the account of the Great Lakes Naval Team out of Waukegan, Illinois, so just north of Chicago, versus the Naval Academy. They were on an Eastern tour playing a couple games. And it turned out that as Navy was up 6-0, they're driving, they have the ball inside the 5, couple minutes left in the game, and if they score, it's over, right? And Great Lakes Naval had been told at halftime, if you win this game, you will get the Rose Bowl invitation. So, that was pretty big motivation at the time.
Extra incentive.
And yet they're about to lose it. They're about to lose the game. So Navy hands the ball off inside the 5 to one of the running backs. Ball pops out, flutters into the end zone, and one of their players, one of the Great Lakes players, grabs it, scoots around the end, and starts running upfield. And he's got a couple of blocks, but he's also had 3 of his teammates trailing him. So there's no way anybody from Navy can get to the Great Lakes Naval guy. So he's running along the Navy sideline, heading for the end zone. All of a sudden, this guy comes off the bench and tackles him, one of the Navy players, substitute. So a couple punches are thrown, and at the time, the football didn't have a rule about unfair acts. So there was no formal rule that allowed officials to kind of make any call they wanted to bring to right a wrong. Right? And so, as it turned out, the commandant of the Naval Academy came out on the field and said, I don't care what you all say, you're going to give the touchdown to Great Lakes, right? So he did not want his team to win through any kind of dishonor, right? And which was, good move on his part. But so that was the first time I remembered coming across that. Now, I also had kind of a memory of seeing a film of something like that, but obviously they didn't have film from that particular game. So, but it basically, it's an illustration of potential situations. And we did a broader podcast about this a couple of weeks ago about unfair acts, that the referee needs a way to make a ruling that steps beyond the written rule, and it shouldn't happen very often, but here and there things are going to happen. So they need discretion. And so basically they've instituted a rule to do this. And so I basically, what I did in this story is to identify 4 instances where something like that happened. So one was Great Lakes in 1918, getting tackled by Navy. Another one, which was pretty funny when you get in the details of it and read the period articles. In 1940, uh, Michigan goes out to Cal. It's the first time the two teams ever meet, because again, that's back in the day, Midwestern teams didn't go out there very often. The Big Ten
Mhm.
didn't play in bowl games, um, so the two teams had never met. And but Michigan had Tom Harmon, who won the Heisman Trophy that year, and his first game of the season, he scores like 28 points. He scores 4 touchdowns, throws for another one, and kicks 4 extra points. So I mean, he's just an absolute stud, and a couple of his runs are really lengthy runs. And on the second one of those lengthy runs, or after his first lengthy run, I think was the second touchdown. And there was a guy in the stands sitting fairly low, apparently, who said to his buddies, if that guy gets loose one more time, I'm going to go out and tackle him myself. And they're like, oh, yeah, yeah. And I think he'd had a couple of beverages. So, so sure enough, Harmon gets loose, and he had it was like 78, 79 yard, touchdown jump. And as he's approaching the end zone, here comes this guy, Bud Wellman or something like that, comes out of the stands and tries to tackle him. And, he stiff arms and then just kind of strolls into the end zone. So, this guy, it was kind of, he was kind of made fun of in the newspapers for doing this. But on the other hand, most people kind of admired him a little bit. But so, it's just, here's this guy in street clothes going out trying to tackle Tom Harmon. Um, then there was, the next one was the 1954 Cotton Bowl. And, good game. It's supposed to be a good game. Rice was favored, and they're playing Bama. And on the second, I think it was Bama's second possession, they gave the ball multiple times to this guy Tommy Lewis, and had a couple of nice runs, scores a touchdown. And then Rice gets the ball, and uh, I'm probably gonna mess up his name, but this guy Dickey, I don't know if it's Meagle Magle. He had a nice long run for Rice to tie it up. Maybe they went ahead. And then like the next possession, boop, he goes around end again and he's racing down the field. And this guy who had scored the first Bama touchdown, who's sitting on the bench, is all PO'd watching this guy running down the field. So he jumps off the bench and tackles him on the sidelines. So this one's captured on film. And the film is in the well, actually, the film of that and the Michigan one, is available in the tidbit itself. But they're just kind of funny, just seeing some guy coming off the bench or coming out of the stands trying to make a tackle. Um, and then the third one is Wake Forest at NC State in 1971, and kind of a similar thing happened. It was this one was a close game, and the Wake Forest quarterback, um, I think he'd led them like in a fourth quarter comeback, but then they like failed to they were able to move the ball. Like there was a turnover, they were able to move the ball close to maybe kicking a field goal to tie the game or to tie the game or go ahead. And the ball, it's like the clock's ticking. It's like literally the last seconds of the game. So they're rushing this kick, and it's either a bad snap or bad hold, bad kick, and the ball kind of goes flicking off, and is caught by an NC State player, who then starts running down the sideline. Now at that point, they had won the game. Lake Forest wasn't going to score, so this didn't decide the game, but he's running down the sideline, and so the Wake Forest quarterback, apparently is a pretty admirable guy and everything, but for whatever reason, he came flying off the bench and he tackles this NC State guy, And so, same situation. The refs say, no, we're awarding the touchdown. And so NC State won like 20-15 instead of, whatever, they won like 20-14 instead of, 15-14. But it's just, I just find it so amusing that, people's emotions got the best of them. And they just said, screw it, I'm going to tackle the guy, even though they clearly know it's wrong, right? It's bad sportsmanship, but it's kind of understandable.
Yeah, I guess that competitive edge just fires them up just to the point of losing their senses for a moment. So
Yeah.
yeah, some entertaining stories for sure, and you describe them so well, especially the Harmon one. That was a great description, and I encourage everybody to read all of Tim's tidbits, but that one's a great description of an actual play that was fantastic. And you do this a lot in your tidbits. You tell us a little story, you do some research on it, you tell us the whys and whens, and you call them the tidbits of football archaeology. So maybe you could share with us how people can partake in these.
Yep. Just go to footballarchaeology.com. It's a Substack site. So subscribe and you'll get an email every time that I publish a story that contains the story itself. Or follow me on Substack, follow me on Blue Sky, because I post on there every time that I publish a new story. Or just bookmark it and come and visit anytime you want. And there's now almost 1,400 stories out there in the archives. So
wow,
coming out and use the little search function if you're trying to figure something out, and there's probably something related to it sitting out there in an article.
Yeah, just find your keyword and put it in the old window, and
Yeah.
Tim will have a story there for you. So excellent, Tim. We appreciate you coming on and sharing this great story of these uncommon scores or tackles, or the 12th man coming on, and not Seattle's 12th man, and but very entertaining and very historic. And we appreciate you doing that, and we'd love to talk to you again next Tuesday.
Very good. Thanks, sir.
That's all the football history we have today, folks. Join us back tomorrow for more of your football history. We invite you to check out our website, pigskindispatch.com, not only to see the daily football history, but to experience positive football with our many articles on the good people of the game, as well as our own football comic strip, Cleat Marks Comics. Pigskindispatch.com is also on social media outlets, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and don't forget the Pigskin Dispatch YouTube channel to get all of your positive football news and history. Special thanks to the talents of Mike and Jean Monroe, as well as Jason Neff for letting us use their music during our podcast.
This podcast is part of the Sports History Network, your headquarters for the yesteryear of your favorite sport. You can learn more at sportshistorynetwork.com.